Well, before we do the third who knows where, I went back to the first one and played it over a couple of times with a few other weapons so I could get the rest of the Vigils. You don't have to play through the entire thing. Once you get the ones you're looking for, you can just exit out, and it still counts.
The Masons. We built the city strong. Now there's only two of us. The Breakers. Ain't no one could outrun them. Or their arrows. The Trappers. Daring bunch of fools. They'll be missed. The Menders. They had thankless jobs. The most important kind. The Marshals. Kept the city's peace. They can rest easy now. The Slingers. The Wilds were their calling. The Brushers. They moved in shadows, but the calamity found them. The Mancers. They knew everything, even if it cost them. Never thought I'd see that thing completed. Not in this life.
And that got us another 4,000? Something like that. So might as well upgrade for the last time. Maybe one more time. I don't know how much money we'll get from that third who knows where. Let's upgrade the mortar. Either 100% power shot damage or better critical hit chance. I have Were Whiskey, so...
The Armada sure could have used one of these back in the day.
Yeah, let's go with the pistols. Either your bullets will cripple foes and make them move slower, or 25% damage. Was there another cripple upgrade? No, there wasn't. It's just this one. Well, let's just go with damage, I guess.
You'd never guess those things been to the wilds and back.
And we have a little bit left. Can we squeeze any more upgrades out? Well, I guess we'll just save this for after the who knows where and see if we can upgrade the pistols one more time. And for this, I'll go... This is actually the combination I used for my 10 idle run when I was doing all the who knows where sections. Just having the mortar and the carbine.
Kid ain't taking chances. Takes all the firepower he can carry. It's hard to sleep easy these days, what with everything that's happened. Zolf. Very soon the kid's gonna have to face that man again. For the last time. They met on the worst day of Zolf's life. There in the Hanging Gardens, he aimed to throw it all away. It wasn't the first time Zolf had nothing to lose. He was born to a simple Ura couple who didn't last long before plague took him.
It's pretty obvious why I brought the mortar to this one, just because there are a lot of rattletails, and I found the mortar to be the quickest way to get rid of them.
He grew up hungry in the tunnels of the Tassel terminals, so he took to stealing from a Caelondian missionary living there. once got sloppy with his thieving hands. The missionary caught him, but didn't rat him out. Instead, he offered to take him in. That missionary raised Zolf like a gentleman, like he was his own son. Taught him theology, history, and mercy.
This is kind of how the mortar comes into its own. Is when you realize that you don't really need to use it long range, you can just run somewhere and just tap the button for a second and run away.
When the missionary passed away, Zolf promised to continue his work to bring about a lasting peace between the Ura and Caelondia.
And also, since I have that explosive rounds upgrade, I can just tap the button now when I'm really close to people.
Zolf started teaching the missionaries wisdom to any Ura who would listen, and listen they did.
Thankfully, you don't fight these things, the stink eye spawners, that much. They're really only in like 2 levels in the main game, and this who knows where.
He advocated tolerance and argued that the Ura should atone for the war. He believed the city had much to teach his people. However, Zolf felt he could only do so much in the Tassel terminals. He needed Caelondia to know the Ura had changed. He decided to do what the missionary did many years before. He left the city of his youth to brave a savage land. The journey was hard, but he knew how to fend for himself. And then at last, Zolf saw the rippling walls on the horizon.
And these rocks are kind of key for a 10 IO run, because it helps you avoid a lot of fire.
He endeared himself to city folk straight away, and in turn he fell in love with the city and its people. One in particular.
I never showed off Bomb Barrage. This is also a pretty good secret skill. It does a lot of damage.
This young lady was fascinated by the Ura, but she never met anyone like Zolf. She told him she knew all the city's best-kept secrets.
And this guy here, It's a little hard to tell that he's different. He's one of the larger crossbow guys. You can see he's always charging up and just firing a single arrow. If you get hit by it, it poisons you, and it also makes the screen get all blurry, and it's really annoying.
The Hanging Gardens was their favorite spot. It was there that Zolf clasped her hands and proposed in proper Caelondian style. He celebrated with his friends long into the night. Joy and revelry like he'd never seen. Too bad he couldn't remember it all. He woke up alone underground inside the Caelondian War Memorial, built like an Uraden. But something was wrong. Emerged from that hole in the ground into a waking nightmare. Everything that wasn't gone was twisted upside down. The world was frozen, air thick with ash. What few faces he saw on the street stared back at him with gray and vacant eyes. Found his wife-to-be asleep inside her home, but when he reached out to her, she joined with all the ashes in the sky.
Also, these guys that fired the poison bolts, you can't block them. I believe you can actually counter-block them. And if the guy gets hit by the bolt, he will actually be poisoned. Ah, hell.
And so Zolf returned to where he proposed in the Hanging Gardens. And there he stood, as if the gods would answer him. The kid's gonna be okay. As for that man, who knows?
I suppose we should see if we can upgrade one last time. Yes, we can. For the dueling pistols, the bullets will either knock enemies back, or they'll ignore armor. I'd say go with ignoring armor.
That'll spice things up next time he gets in trouble.
And then for the final weapon combination, I say we go with the mortar and the dueling pistols, because that's a weird combination.
With all that firepower, kid looks like he's ready to raid a fort.
And then for the final level, I say let's turn on 2 more idols. Enemies will hit harder,
Hensa,
and then enemies have greater defenses.
Javel.
So that's a 40% bonus to both experience and money. I'm not going to turn these 2 on just because they're annoying.
Last thing the gods are gonna do is make our lives easier.
Well, next video... Oh, I never did finish that. Oh well. Next video will be the Tassel Terminals. Final level. See you then.